I don't know what we have going on here, but just bear with me, please, for the love. Maybe you just don't even look at the screen while I'm talking right now, because I know this lighting is terrible. I know I look ridiculous. This is not a flattering angle, so I do apologize. Sitting here in my minivan with my, I call them my limo lights when we had those on in the back seat for the kids. But bear with me. I have a message to share with you guys today. Once again, my friends, we are gonna just do the best that we can. I just wanted to make this video because, gosh, it is such a stereotypical conversation. I feel like this, maybe you've already started to see a trend here on my channel about how I will talk about the hard things, about how I will share the ugly stuff that nobody else really wants to talk about. Right now, I am currently waiting to go in and see my counselor. Yeah, I just said that. I have a counselor. I see a counselor. I don't get to see her very much anymore. She is super booked up, especially through the end of even this year. So there was a cancellation and I hopped right on to be able to come in and see her. But I'm going to tell you what. Counseling is probably one of the best things that I have ever invested in for myself. There's been 3 different times in my life that I have decided that I wanted to go to counseling. The first time in my life that I decided it would be wise to talk to a counselor was when I was in my early 20s. Even before Brad and I got married, I was struggling so bad with what I was supposed to be doing in life. The people pleasing was eating me up. And I pretty much went to a counselor and she ended up asking me, like, Nicole, what would make you happy? And it came down to my decision of, should I keep going to college or should I stop for a while until I figure out what I want to do with my life? So pretty much I needed a counselor to help me navigate that decision. It was also right before Brad and I got married. So, I was just trying to navigate through the emotions of that, like the coming of age, being a 20-something-year-old woman, really adulting for the first time and just not knowing who I was and starting to find my own identity. I'm so thankful that I went to a counselor during that season of life and that I really listened to myself and listened to like what I needed to be doing and listening to that push to get in and get some help and to sit down and work with somebody through the struggles that I was facing in my life. To this day, I don't really know how many people know that I went to counseling when I was like 20 years old. I want to say, I don't even think I ever told my parents. Actually, at the time, I was still on my parents' insurance, and I was afraid that it was going to come up on their insurance claim, and I would find out, and then they'd freak out and be like, why are you going to counseling? What's wrong with you? Or the whole stereotypical idea of like, well, you're crazy, you're crazy. Who goes to counseling? And that whole thing. So that was my first time that I went to counseling. The next time that I went to counseling in my life was right after our twins were born. It would have been January of 2014. I started going to counseling because a few things had happened. Not only were the twins born 3 months early, and I had like lived in the NICU and I lived out of the Ronald McDonald house, and I just had all that trauma and stress and like everything just happened in my life. But the second thing that happened that kind of just made me really need to evaluate things was that I had 2 grandparents pass away in the same day. My papa on my mom's side passed away in the early morning, and then later that night, my grandma, my dad's mom, passed away later that night. So both 2 grandparents passed away in the same exact day. They were not related to each other or anything like that. And that happened, and I watched what happened to a lot of the people in my family when they passed away. I do want to dig a little bit deeper into this, but I thought something was wrong with me because I wasn't grieving the same way that my family was grieving. They were all struggling with it, and they were just, they're crying and crying and crying, and I couldn't even shed a tear. And I'm thinking, there is something so wrong with me. I thought something was seriously wrong with me. So I started seeing a counselor, started working with her on some things, ended up accomplishing a lot. I've only seen her for a few months just to make sure I wasn't completely crazy and that I was broken and that there was something wrong with me. But that was the second time that I went to counseling in my life. For the third time that I have signed myself up voluntarily for counseling. I'm in that season right now. So it was a year ago, last October, that me and my then baby got in a pretty bad car accident on the way to take him to his 1-year checkup. And we were driving our minivan, and a really old gentleman blew through a stop sign and totaled our minivan. He hit the same exact door where Houston was sitting. It was probably the scariest moment of my entire life. I got out of the car, I was in complete shock. I couldn't open the car door. I couldn't get to my baby fast enough. Like, I was shook up so bad. They ended up taking us by ambulance to the local emergency room. The baby checked out just fine. I have a really bad neck and back already as it is, so I was feeling quite a bit of pain, and it definitely set in a couple days later. I needed somebody to talk with that about. I also was struggling a lot in my career again. I was trying to figure out, what is it that God wants me to be doing, and where am I going with my life? So not only did I have this traumatic accident that happened, but I was also trying to listen to God's will and figure out who am I and what am I doing again in my life. I was also trying to balance and figure out, like, parenthood. I mean, this season in parenthood has been so hard. So I decided that I was going to go to a counselor during that season as well. So I have been seeing the same counselor for now a year, and she is like my spiritual godmother. She is an absolute blessing. I don't see her as often as I would like to see her, but I don't even come to counseling just because things are bad or just because I am down about something. I come to counseling and I talk to my counselor when I am in the best of moods and in the best places of my entire life, which is kind of like today. Today I'm doing great. Like, I just kind of want to come see her and do like a little bit of a life update with her, and she can breathe so much encouragement into my life. So I'm here to see her tonight, and I was just thinking, I was sitting here in the car and I had some quiet time. I was just reflecting on what was going on in my life. I'm telling you what, I have absolutely no shame in admitting today that I go to counseling, that I have a counselor on speed dial that I can make an appointment with if I need to see her. She's heard it all, really. She has heard it all in my life, and I have complete confidence in her that she has my best intentions at heart. If you have ever considered going to counseling, definitely check into it. It's worth it. If you're scared that you're not going to like the counselor, just get to know them. Like, get to know them a little bit at a time. You don't have to open up about every little secret and scar in your life, but just do it over time. Another thing is if you don't hit it off with that first counselor that you meet, go see a different one. I have seen 3 counselors now. I know a counselor shows no sign of weakness. I just feel like I really need to say that. It actually shows strength and digging down to things that you are feeling and expressing them and talking with them with somebody. And the last thing I want to leave you with really quick on the topic of counseling is that if you are a Christian, try to find a Christian counselor. That is where my counselor is. That she actually works out of a church right now, so connect with a Christian counselor. So thank you for bearing with me. My hair is a mess. I'm sitting here using the light in my van. I'm parked underneath a street lamp right now in the parking lot because I just wanted a little bit better lighting, but as you can see, this is just crazy. I'm on my last day of my open enrollment season tomorrow. Praise Jesus. I am almost done. I've almost survived the season. But yeah, I just want to bring this message to you guys, because if you're anything like me, or if you're anything like a human being walking here on earth, we all need a wise counselor to help us navigate through this world. So we'll see you guys next time.